Plants have been a staple in video games since the very beginning. From the days of hopping on logs in Frogger to getting special boosts in Tears of the Kingdom, plants have been by your side helping you traverse the vast world of your games. However, what happens when they don't help? What happens when they harm? Plants can be very insidious given the right circumstances, and that is what we are here to discuss today. Carnivorous plants are any plant that captures, digests, and absorbs its prey. There are quite a few of these in the wild. In fact, there are over 750 recognized carnivores in the world. They can be found on every continent. Well, except for Antarctica. In my home continent, North America, there are 7 genera of carnivores, including one of the most famous ones, the Dionea, or Venus flytrap. My home state even has a native carnivore, the bladderwort. Okay, actually it can be found in all 50 states, so mine is not that special. In video games, there have been plant enemies since the early 1980s. They normally take inspiration from Dionea muscipula, the Venus flytrap. They can be seen patiently waiting for the player to get close, then snap shut and devour them. This isn't too unlike real Dionea. The plant sits motionless, its trap spread wide open. When an insect lands on the trap, tempted by the sweet nectar, it triggers 3 hairs. The first trigger causes the plant to ready the trap. If the prey touches a second trigger hair, then the trap slams shut. While the prey struggles to get free, it keeps triggering the hairs, which causes the plant to seal shut. The plant starts to secrete digestive enzymes and acids into the trap. This dissolves the soft parts of the prey completely. As this is happening, the plant is absorbing the nutrients it needs. But why do this at all? Well, carnivorous plants, especially ones like Dionea, live in swamps or bogs. The soil has had all of the nutrients washed away from it. This means the plant can't get anything from the soil, so it's adapted a new strategy. By dissolving smaller organisms like insects, the plant is able to get everything it needs. It still photosynthesizes as well to get the sugars, but without those other nutrients, it can't photosynthesize at all. So, let's take a look at some of the most famous man-eating plants in video games. We'll be going over some games that I myself have not played before, so if I get any details wrong, my apologies. This is going to be in order of release date too, just to make things a bit simpler for me. Let's start off with one of the most famous and earliest examples, the piranha plant from the Super Mario Bros. Franchise. Piranha plants are one of the most iconic plants in all of video games. They're immediately recognizable. They've been a staple enemy in the franchise since the very first game in 1985. It's based on Dionea, which you can tell simply by the mouth-like action of the trap. It's a very simple yet well-executed enemy. While being completely stationary, it still manages to prove difficult to maneuver around. Next up in 1986, the Manhandla from The Legend of Zelda. This is a perfect example of a Dionea. Multiple snapping traps that want nothing more than a little snack. Perhaps some link will do. This plant is famous for 2 mechanics. 1. It spits fire. And 2. It speeds up as each head is cut off. It makes for a great fight. It's been seen in other Legend of Zelda games as well, including Oracle of Seasons, Four Swords, and Hyrule Warriors. The Castlevania series has its own man-eating plant. It's called the man-eating plant. It first appeared in Castlevania II: Simon's Quest, released in 1987. Like most plants on this list, it is immobile but uses a long stem to attack the player. This is another plant that spits fireballs at the player as well. My guess is that this just comes from the idea of acid burns. Carnivorous plants secrete enzymes that can melt smaller creatures, so the idea of fire burning and acid burning kinda go together. But that's just my thoughts on the matter. Final Fantasy is one of the most popular game series of all time. The Malboro is found in the Cave of Mysidia in Final Fantasy II, released in 1988. It's a large plant monster with tentacles coming off of it. The name possibly comes from the cigarette brand Marlboro due to the fact that the plant has horrendous breath. In fact, it uses this breath as a weapon, inflicting status effects on the player. In 2006's Final Fantasy XII, it got a slight redesign. Now the tentacles are a bit more under control, but the general concept remains the same. Fast forward to the year 1994, and Super Metroid has just come out. This means you'll be up against the Samus Eater. It looks fairly innocent until Samus gets too close, then massive teeth come out and grab her. It will chomp on her for a bit until letting go. The Samus Eater also makes an appearance in Metroid Fusion in 2002. In this game, it kinda looks like a Rafflesia to me. It has those big white spots and that giant mouth-like structure in the center. Though, it should be noted that the Rafflesia is not a carnivore. It simply smells like one. Up next, we finally have something not based entirely on Dionea or generic flowers. The evolutionary line of the Pokemon Bellsprout resembles Nepenthes or pitcher plants. These are plants that have large pitcher traps at the end of their leaves. When an insect falls into the trap, it's digested in acids and enzymes, then absorbed. The Pokédex tells us they are specifically carnivores and that they will eat pretty much anything that fits in their mouth. This is accurate for real Nepenthes as well. They've been known to sometimes eat small mammals and birds. These guys were released in 1996 to the world and have remained favorites of mine for a very long time. Something much less silly is Plant 42 from Resident Evil 1996. This monster plant was injected with the T-virus, a bioweapon created by the Umbrella Corporation. They quickly lost control over it though, and it dug its roots into the facility. It took out the scientists who worked on it before they can make a serum to destroy the roots. This plant only has one goal, and that is to consume everything. It spits acid at anything that comes near it, hoping to weaken the prey so it can be devoured. Let's get to something a bit lighter. How about some good old Crash Bandicoot? Quick side note, I don't believe bandicoots are real animals. Like, look at this thing and tell me it's real. You can't. It's a figment of our collective imagination. And furthermore... Moving on. The man-eating plant has been an enemy of the bandicoot named Crash for many games. From the very first game up until Crash Team Racing Nitro Field, the man-eating plant has been seen in 12 of the 25 games. A less popular plant is the Venus flytrap, only appearing in 3 games. It has 2 forms, one that snaps shut at regular intervals, and one that snaps shut whenever Crash lands on it. Back to some Legend of Zelda. In 1998 we got Ocarina of Time. This means we also got the Deku Baba plant. It will lunge and attack Link if he gets too close. Once it's killed, it drops Deku Sticks or Deku Nuts. They're also seen in Majora's Mask in 2000, Twilight Princess in 2006, and Skyward Sword in 2011. They slightly changed between Skyward Sword and its original form in Ocarina of Time. In Skyward Sword, the mouth can open in different directions, and you have to attack the same direction the plant opens its trap. In Twilight Princess, the boss of the Forest Temple is a large Deku Baba with 3 heads called Dia Baba. We're finally in the 2000s now. Pikmin 2, released in 2004, has the Creeping Chrysanthemum, a large creature which disguises itself as a couple of flowers. You can identify it by its eye that's seen instead of the flower center. When you're right on top of it, it bursts from the ground and attacks. It will eat as many Pikmin as possible. When it misses though, it smacks itself with its head, allowing the Pikmin to swarm it. It reappeared with a different design in Pikmin 4 2003. It kinda looks like a frog. In 2006, we got another carnivorous plant Pokemon. This is Carnivine. Very obviously a Dionea. It has very accurate science behind it too. Has a sweet-smelling saliva that is used to attract insects, just like the nectar secreted by the Dionea. It takes a long time to digest its prey too. The Carnivine can take a day to do it, while the Dionea takes 3 to 5. Not gonna lie, I figured we would have a Venus flytrap Pokemon way sooner than we did, but I'm happy with him in the end though. He's a good boy. Here's a game you guys have been begging me to cover. While I work through the details, have this little taste. Plants vs. Zombies is a classic game from 2009. In it you have plants who protect you from zombies. Not gonna lie, I had no idea it had so many sequels and spin-offs, but that just means I have more to play. One of those protector plants is the Chomper, a large purple Dionea-like plant who loves to munch on some zombies. My strategy was to always put them behind a tall nut, allowing the plant to have ample time to chew. It's been seen in pretty much every game, from the 3 main stories to the first-person shooters? I must have missed the fact that there was more than one. I only knew of Garden Warfare. I guess I have a lot to catch up on. Now onto the 2010s, starting with the Spore plant from Fallout New Vegas in 2010. This big Dionea was experimented on at the X-22 Botanical Garden at Big MT. They turn into giants and will spit corrosive acid at anything that comes near them. Then, if it gets too close, it will chomp down and try to eat it. They seem to not like ghoul meat though. While they used to be confined to Vault 22, they have since spread throughout Zion Canyon. It's very nice to see a change of pace for the Fallout games. Instead of mutated animals, we get a mutated plant. Neat. In 2013, the release of Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon brought us some ghostly Dionea. This plant is also heavily based on the Piranha plant from the other Super Mario games. It is used to guard areas where Luigi needs to go. In Luigi's Mansion 3 2019, a ghost named Dr. Potter grows a large Dionea that comes to life and attacks Luigi. This is done on the 7th level, also fittingly known as the Garden Suites. And there you have it. There are many more examples of carnivorous plants in video games, but these are, in my opinion, some of the most famous. Okay, maybe not Luigi's Mansion, but I had to include it since it's my mother's favorite game. Hi, Mom. If you enjoyed this little adventure into gaming history, consider leaving a like and subscribing. Also, leave me a comment down below giving me game or topic ideas. If you want more content, then you can find me on Twitch at Video Game Botanist. I try to stream Wednesdays and Saturdays from 6 to 9 Central Time, but I might just hop on if I'm in the mood as well. Hope you stick around for the next video. See you later!